Could you please update us on the efforts of the Department of Energy to address the power needs of the Yolanda-stricken areas?
Medyo mahaba-haba ho yung sagot na. Please bear with me. Okay. Okay. There are 33 affected electric cooperatives. No? And nagkaroon na ho ng immediate, and DOE is working for the immediate release of a portion of the calamity grant. No? There has been a deployment of task force volunteers, completed their equipment, deployment of national electrification engineers to supervise and monitor the construction of distribution lines and households. Yung output is in 2014 includes restoration in 341 municipalities for Yolanda affected areas, 7,052 barangays, 1,428,636 households. No? There is also a program by the Panay Electric Company of addressing it's called the low load program. So for an amount of 1,600 roughly, this is a deposit that energizes housing units that are shall we say, in low load. No? To date, 116 out of 442 applications have already been processed and are now energized. Yung low load program is to fast track the provision of electricity service to those who are relocatees or households living in low-cost housing units funded by the LGU and endorsed by the City Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
President.
Francis Alan Angelo, The Daily Guardian.
Good morning, Mr. President. Sir, could you please update us on what the local water utilities administration is doing about the problem of between MIWD and its bulk water contractors sa Iloilo City po?
There is already this supply contract has been forwarded for study by the OGCC or to the OGCC, Office of Government Corporate Council, and basically he's being tasked to interpret the contractual obligations of the two entities, no? The Metro Iloilo Water District and the supply contractor. Now, there have been other initiatives undertaken by LUAM. They have endorsed a request presently being studied by DPWH, which encompasses about 211 million. Now, and the DPWH tells me that they are in a position to help, especially in depressed urban areas. No? There can be grants. LUA will give either grants or loans, no, to address the issue of water in Iloilo City in particular. Pero yung Halaur 2, no? Halaur 2, yung byproduct, primary irrigation, no? But it will also help address the issue of water shortage. Now, may long-term interventions na kailangan gawin, and these are presently being studied to come up with a design plan, no, for fully addressing that issue. Pero step by step, ito munang review of the contractual obligations between the two entities. Second, determination of yung request of 211 million, which is appropriate and which can be done as soon as possible. Thank you.
Ina Dulong, Solar TV.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, may we get details of your meeting with the MILF Chairman Murad in Hiroshima?
Basically we discussed the output of the Transition Commission. At saka medyo mabilis, no, dahil that was an unscheduled meeting and I think I had something like a 10-minute gap. No? So may broad strokes on how to come up with the basic law that will ensure swift passage in Congress. So, syempre, may kasabihin nga may Amerikano, di ba? The devil is in the details. So, yung framework agreement is like, framework. Now we're putting in all of the details. And I asked him if it would be possible to meet sometime next week. Either their panels or we in particular or our designated representatives to thresh it out and come up with that proposed measure and give it to Congress even before the SONA.
Sir, did he seem maybe disappointed with the delay dun sa pag-draft ng bill at pag-submit sa Congress, considering na May po sana natin tinarget? What seems to be delaying the submission?
Well, both sides, no? I tasked my legal team, no, to review it. Sabi na parang and parang interpretation actually of what the framework principle how it should be articulated or written down. So again, I don't think there's a disagreement on the guiding principles. there is an agreement on how you actually word, or there's a need to further refine the language so that it really parang really states a meeting of the minds of both parties. No? So we expect this to happen faster. The peace advisor, Secretary Delis, was meeting with the executive secretary yesterday, and primarily to hasten the process of coming up with that proposed measure that both parties can fully support and endorse.
Sir, again, considering the long delay, would it be safe to assume, sir, na medyo marami din tayo nakitang problema sa constitutionality and some of the provisions? And lastly, if we're confident that you will meet the deadline to pass the law by year-end?
Well, siyempre, I have to work with the co-equal branch, no? But I can assure the Filipino people that we will be exerting all efforts, no, to ensure that this measure is passed in a timely manner, because the dream still is to give the new Bangsamoro government time to demonstrate its abilities. And the time that they need as a minimum is a year and 6 months. So we're hoping that all the steps will be done, that they can sit already in office by January of 2015. Now, as to constitutionality, I don't agree with the premise, no, na there is to make sure that it's constitutional. No, from the start, the Constitution was a guiding document in crafting the framework agreement. So the basic law that gives the details should also be consistent. I have to confess, no, it's siguro about 6 inches thick, yung the law itself, and also the comments by both parties. I have reserved Sunday to go through each and every one of those pages, and hopefully I can be of help, no, to get both sides to really be fully supportive of the measure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, huli po magtatanong, Florante Rosales, DCRH.
Florante.
Mr. President, magandang umaga po. Tanong po ng ating mga kabayan ito eh. Ano po ang naging assessment nyo sa more than 3 hours na food security and price monitoring meeting nyo sa Palasyo kahapon? Dahil sa inirereklamo ng mga consumer yung mataas na mga presyo ng basic commodities.
Well, yung isa sa mga una natin natalakay doon, yung sinasabi sa ating sa report, parang sa pag-iisip na isang ekonomista doesn't make sense. Okay? For instance, diminishing raw yung production natin. No, diminishing rin yung importation. Pero increasing yung consumption. So, paano dadami kung nababawasan yung binubungkal natin at yung pinapasok? No? So, it doesn't make sense. Now, may kulang ba ang supply? Pinipilit sa atin na marami ang supply, pero tila merong ang suspicion, no? Ulitin ko lang, suspicion, merong mga nagkontsabahan para i-maintain yung presyo mataas. Lalo dyan sa bawang. Doon sa bigas naman, pumasok na yung mga 25% nung inangkat natin dahil ito yung mga buwan, lalo na sa umpisa ng July, tinatawag na lean months. Hinihintay natin yung harvest natin. Okay. So, yung meron din yatang nagsasamantala, at ulitin ko, suspicion to, no, bagamat kompleto ang supply, wala ka nakikita palengke na wala na ibebente. No? May mga nakita na mababa ang supply ng NFA at sabi lang baka parang ito yung panahon na pwede tayong magtaas ng presyo artificially. Okay. So, ang resulta kahapon, nagkadesisyon na mag-i-import tayong dagdag na bigas. No? By next week, ang tanda ko ang i-report sa atin kung gaano karami. Okay. Number 2, meron na rin tayong nilalaan na pondo para magkaroon ng suporta naman para sa ating mga magsasaka, lalo na pag dumating to imported na bigas pagdating ng September. No? Yung completion ng unang mga in-order natin. Meron rin inatasan natin ng NBI, makipagtulungan sa PNP, na talagang siyasatin na masinsinan itong posibilidad na may mga tinatawag na kartel. No? At magsampa na kaukulang kaso, dahil kahapon meron mga binabanggit ng specific na crimes na pwedeng na-violate. Okay? Siyempre, meron na rin mga operations sa NFA, for instance, do sa mga nagsasamantala sa presyo, yung mga unauthorized na magbenta ng bigas, may diversion na nababanggit. No? Sorry, hindi ko dala yung briefer kung gaano karaming operations na ginawa nila. Pero medyo marami-rami na rin talaga. Okay. So, ang dulo po nito, no, ang inatasan natin lahat ng kausap kahapon, na merong agarang solusyon na gagawin. Pero importante pang matagalan na hindi pwedeng may grupo o ilang tao nagsasamantala at kinakawawa ang sambayanan. So, again, pati na rin yung pag-aaral natin sa problema, NEDA ang pangunahin, Sinabi natin na hindi maliwanag itong analysis yun ng problema. So sabi na mukhang mali rin ho talaga yung datos na nakukuha. At pag alam na natin yung datos, lalo nating maayos yung problema. Dagdag ko lang, no? Yung, for instance, ano ba talaga ang difference ng rice na yung palay na tinanim natin at saka yung kinukonsumo natin, umangat ang rice production ng 4%. Pero tila umangat ang consumption ng 5%. So may diferensya ng 1%. At medyo malaki-laki yung 1% na yan. No? So, lalo natin papaigtingin ang agrikultura. Pero kalinsunod yan, inatasan ko na rin ng DOST, kaya lang 6 na buwan na kailangan nila. Siguro may mga 3 o 4 na buwan pang kakailanganin ng proyekto. Gumamit na ng satellite imagery. No? Imarka na natin sa buong Pilipinas ano ba ang mga lugar na nakatanim sa palay. Okay? Tapos ilalagay doon, parang gagawa ka na ng program na nagsasabing sa ganitong lugar, ganito average tonnage, magkakaroon tayo ng mas up-to-date, saka real-time na yung estimate sa ating potential na harvest para mas guided rin kung ilan ba talaga kailangan nating import. Okay? So, ulitin ko lang, nag-i-import to tayo, no? Para kung meron nga magsasamantalang yung itatago nila yung kanilang supply, may pampalit tayo doon. At siguro doon natin malugi sila sa ginawa nila.
Sir, one follow-up lang. May sinabun po ba kayo at kidula sa meeting kahapon?
Mabait akong tao. Nakangiti ako normally. Maski nanenermon ako, pakiusap ang kinalabas ko.
Salamat po, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Flor. Thank you, Mr. President. At thank you, Iloilo Media. Thank you, Malakang Press Corps. Magandang tanghali po sa inyo lahat.